Urban Wrestling Federation.
That's right.
All right.
This opened with Steve the Hustler.
Every UWF show is it's a mind fuck because there's 47 things going on at once and you don't know what 46 of them are. Steve the Hustler was having a meeting with the crew.
In the ring.
About making money.
I got to talk about this.
Go for it.
I actually got the DVD of this pay-per-view. And it opened with 3 of the, what are those things? Hype videos? 3 of the hype videos that ended up online. It opened up with those. And then it had a Steve the Hustler had a speech that he was giving all of the wrestlers. I actually don't know if this aired on the pay-per-view or not. I hope it did. But for those of you that didn't see it, and I know there are a few of you, for those of you that didn't see it, what happened was Steve the Hustler, who is the former Steve Carroll from ECW, Steve the Hustler is in the ring, and he's got a long gray ponytail. He looks like an old Paul Heyman, kind of.
He looks like Paul Heyman's weird old uncle.
Yeah, like his crazy uncle. Anyway, Steve the Hustler is in the deal, and he's giving a speech to all the guys. And, they have shots of all the wrestlers as he's giving this speech, and they all looked like they were half asleep. They all looked bored out of their mind by Steve the Hustler's deal.
Did you see the picture that Jericho sent out during the Twitter meeting?
Yes, they looked exactly like this.
Actually, they looked much more bored.
Yeah. So Steve is given this speech, and for the love of God, I have no idea what he was talking about. But I do know he was talking about how this was all about... He said, when the UWF started, we started this thing for that money. It's all about the money. He said, it's not about how many women you bang or whatever. It's only about the money. And I'm like, hold on a second, Steve. I've watched all these UWF shows, and it often is about the woman you're banging. It is, granted, about the money, but it's about a lot more than that as well. So I think, I'm not positive, but I think he wanted to make it clear that it was all about the money, and it had to be about business, and it couldn't be personal. And I think he was saying if you have to kill someone in the Urban Wrestling Federation, make sure it's for the right reasons. Business, not personal. Am I missing anything?
You work harder at watching Urban Wrestling Federation than I do.
I have to. I have to try and figure out what's going on. It's my job.
Well, theoretically, it should be my job too, but I don't care. I watch a segment and I think, I don't know what's going on here.
Well, I do that a lot as well. But to me, it's like the very next segment, for example, when they open up the show and there's a bunch of dudes having meetings. The audio is awful.
Oh, God, yes.
So sometimes it's like, even if I try, I know I'm not going to be able to figure out what's going on because I can't hear them.
I see.
So that's when I just ignore it. But if it's a segment that I can actually hear, then I listen. Because then I figure, well, maybe I will figure out what's going on.
Right.
So this, I tried to figure out. This is what I spent my time trying to figure out what the hell Steve Carroll was talking about here. But the next couple of segments with random guys jaw-jacking each other, there's a lot of mumblers in the UWF. A lot of men mumble, and they're not mic'd well. So I have absolutely no earthly idea what they're saying.
There are some guys, I think, teasing a fight in a subway, by which I mean the transportation area, not the sandwich shop.
Actually, either would have worked.
Yeah, fair. Some other guys hanging out in maybe what appeared to be a club after hours or something. Some girl put her boobs in the camera. But the best part of that, we got like 6 segments of this. We then had a 4-way. Facade versus Joker versus Grim Reaper versus Cage. The stakes for this match, the winner would receive...
high.
The winner would receive, quote, a shitload of money.
Yeah. And that's what it's all about.
Yes. So, each wrestler represents a rapper. One of these guys was out there representing Gunplay. Gunplay, far and away the best thing about the UWF.
Oh, yeah. He was a standout on this program. I think that one guy, what's his face, the commentator?
Julius Smokes?
Julius Smokes. I think Julius Smokes called him the MVP of the UWF, which is, in fact, a true statement.
The closest thing I can compare him to, if Charles Crazy Horse Bennett didn't fight, he just hung out and was all nutty, he would be Gunplay.
But a huge wrestling mark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
he's actually a cross between Crazy Horse Bennett and Mike Tyson.
All right, yeah, that works. So he's out there being awesome.
Did you see Mike Tyson's tweet today?
I didn't, which is funny because I actually follow him on Twitter. But
I cannot wait for WrestleMania, is what it said.
Yay!
He's so happy.
Yes. So they did 1,001 high spots, including, no joke, the safest stacked up superplex spot ever.
Yeah. I've never seen a stacked up superplex executed so effectively as I did on this show.
With no one
literally killed. No one was in danger at all. It went off perfectly.
Yes.
If it always looked like this, they should do this more often, but it never looks like this.
So, Grim Reaper, his gimmick apparently is that he will do high spots.
He's a dead smoker.
Yeah. He is. He is a zombie smoker because he will do spots and he will do them with as little enthusiasm as possible without just fucking them up. Like he went up the top. He did a flip off the top rope, in which he did not even actually jump.
Yeah, that was the most amazing thing. He somehow he did a springboard senton, but he caught no air.
Yes,
he managed to stand on the top rope, and instead of propelling himself up and forward, he managed to just go straight down. But he still did a full rotation.
Yes,
I don't even know how this was physically possible.
Yes. He did a few other things like spinning kicks and a dive off the apron, and they were similarly half-assed. And his facial expression is also completely stone blank at the time. So that, by the way, was the highlight. So Joker, I was actually annoyed by this, but then it made sense. It was a 4-way match and also falls count anywhere. So Joker and Reefer brawl outside onto the street.
I actually thought this was an awesome creative finish.
Joker and Reefer brawl outside on the street. Meanwhile, Facade and Cage are doing a high spot in the ring. In the middle of this high spot, Joker pins Reefer. Outside. So it kind of annoyed me because they couldn't even time that right. But there's a point to this. Shortly thereafter, Facade pinned Cage in the ring. You see, this is not supposed to be an elimination match.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be first pin wins. And even though one pin very clearly came first to us watching at home, this is the UWF.
Well, falls count anywhere. It doesn't matter if it's UWF.
Well, no, my point, Brian, they do not have instant replay. The refs did not actually know which of these pins occurred first. So both men claimed victory. Both referees thought their man had won. They could not decide, so they decided to settle it by having these two dudes wrestle. They did a lot of stupid stuff. Facade hit some kind of wacky tornado DDT through a table for the win.
Mm-hmm. That's fine.
He was, everyone was very concerned. All the rappers and wrestlers and honeys in attendance looked over. One of the honeys had a fine ass. Julius Smokes pointed this out to us at home at home on our couches. He was on commentary. Look at that ass, I believe he said. And then they cut to the announcers. Two of them were looking into the camera, talking about the show. Julius Smokes had his back almost turned to the camera, with his phone out, getting a picture of the ass.
Yep.
Yeah. More meetings with more people mumbling. The only thing I got out of this is that G's, our old buddy G's, he had been fucking with somebody's pussy. It's the kind of thing that happens in the Urban Wrestling Federation. So, we had Mac versus G's. There's apparently the same Monster Mac from the early days of Ring of Honor.
Mm-hmm.
This match very strongly resembled professional wrestling, which is strange on an Urban Wrestling Federation show.
Actually, that was really good until about halfway through when Monster Mac completely blew up.
Yes.
He was so tired.
He's large.
Gigantic.
He's also strong. He grabbed... The first thing they did, he grabbed G's by the throat and legit with one arm lifted him up for a chokeslam and held him up there. Now, G's is not, Brodus Clay, but still. He held him up with one hand for a few seconds, and then it turned out G's not take this chokeslam. He raked his eyes or whatever and got out. But they had a match. Then Mac got totally blown up. And then Joker interfered, and Mac won with the Bam Bam Bigelow style pile driver. It was fine. My notes here for the next bit read, this is a direct quote, mumbling and shouting.
There was some of that, yes.
It's a full sentence. So then we had quite a deal. There's 3 announcers. There's Julius Smokes, another black guy, another white guy.
Robbie Moreno.
All right. So Julius Smokes apparently said about something else. He referred to something as cheese on a cracker. Robbie Moreno, the white man, was greatly offended at this racial slur.
Yes, he was.
He could not believe that Julius Smokes had used the word cracker. How he could be so insensitive. Smokes is not even looking at him. I believe he said he says something about there's Caucasians all over this room. None of them care. Calm the fuck down. Which was, by the way, accurate. But Robbie Moreno was having none of this. He dove across the table. A brawl with Julius Smokes broke out. And you were apparently a fan of this brawl.
I thought it was awesome. I thought it was great. I mean, I don't know what the hell they're going to do with the announcers. But I've seen a lot of pull-apart brawls, and we see them in TNA all the time. And it's like, 2 guys get in a fight, and they fight forever. And finally, geeks come out to break it up, and you're like, well, where were you geeks earlier? And they do a lame job pulling them apart. And then, you know, the guys start brawling again, and it goes on too long, and then the geeks try and pull them apart, and it always looks so fake and contrived. And this one, I would say with 99% certainty that this was a work. But the very fact that I'm not just saying outright that it was a work, that's pretty impressive for them to pull this off. I could tell you that I assume it is a work because A, it aired, B, they had footage of everything. But I can tell you that if this was work, they would have told almost nobody. Because there are a lot of guys in the UWF who had absolutely no idea what was going on, and they thought they were really breaking up a fight. They were going in there to save lives, and that's why it came off so wild. So I don't really know exactly what this whole thing was. I guess we'll find out at whatever the next pay-per-view is. But there were certainly people that were there that thought, oh my God, these guys are fighting over a dude saying cracker on the UWF pay-per-view. And they were really trying to break it up. So there you go.
I'm 1,000% certain it was a work. Main event. Beast Ortiz versus Slim. It is bizarre to me that Beast Ortiz has improved in the UWF since his days in WWE and developmental. He is better now than he was then. You mentioned he's been training with Dave Bautista's gym. He was, the ex-football player with an afro with a towel. Was all he ever did on WWE TV. Now, he shaved off the afro. He is a big, ripped tattoo guy who wrestles almost a Ring of Honor Davey Richards MMA style, and then he will bust out super athletic high spots like a shoulder block and stuff where he just knock the fuck out of the guy. Beast Ortiz rules. Sadly, Slim does not. Match really wasn't much. Highlight was still Julius Smokes, who had returned to the commentary desk. The white man had not. Julius was trying to do his job, but was also upset with the fight that had just happened, including this dialogue as, quote, "I want my money so I can get the fuck out of here." Words, by the way, that have been said on literally every wrestling show of all time. So, finally, they paid Julius Smokes. And then we got my favorite shot of the entire show, even better than the ass earlier. We see the announce desk. We see the one guy doing his job. We see Julius Smokes with a giant wad of cash counting it out. And meanwhile, over his shoulder, there's a match going on. I want a gif of this. If any of you gift makers actually bought this show, please make me a gif of Julius Smokes counting his money. So, Julius was paid. He was paid all he was owed, and suddenly he became quite apologetic. That was awesome.
If I knew how much these announcers made, I'd have tried out.
I guess so. Yes.
He made some. He had some
cheddar.
Yeah.
So Slim won the match. I don't even remember how. It doesn't matter. But the important thing here is that Slim, as we mentioned, all the wrestlers are representing rappers. Slim represents Gunplay.
Yay!
So we got to see Gunplay grab the belt and throw a party. Gunplay's awesome. You know, had the show ended right here, I've been a lot happier with it. But sadly, we got like 20 more seconds. And in those 20 seconds, it fell all to shit.
Ah, come on.
All I can tell you is that apparently somebody's car was stolen, and some guys threw something into water.
Horseman presumed it was a gun.
Sure.
I don't know for sure. Yeah.
Just the stuff that... When UWF is bad TV, it is impossibly bad.
I'm still trying to figure out
Which is most of the time, by the way.
The whole gun thing. Whatever happened to Robbie Moreno? What's the next pay-per-view called?
Turf War.
Turf War! I wonder if they're going to do an announcer versus announcer brawl down the road.
Was Rashi Brown shot on the last show?
Yeah, he was killed.
I remember he was killed.
Well, yeah.
I don't remember if he was shot or not.
Yeah, they shot him at point blank in the head.
That's right. Yes. To open the show.
Yeah.
That's right. Yes, so perhaps this is the gun they used to shoot Rashi Brown.
I figured that when they pulled the guy out of the car, they shot him, and then they had to get rid of the gun. I just hope that it was all business.
Yes.
Because if it gets personal, Steve the Hustler's not going to be happy.
Will not get his way.
No. It wouldn't be good for the image of the UWF.